Welcome to Kolesar Kitchen Science. Get hungry for science.
Oh yeah.
Today we're going to be making homemade ice cream.
With salt.
Why are we using salt? Well, we'll get to that later. I'm going to tell you about what you need to make this ice cream and how to do it. Now I will put the recipe down in the comments or down in the notes later, so you don't have to pay attention super a lot to the amounts, all right? So what you're going to need is a quarter cup of sugar, a half a cup of cream, a half a cup of milk, a quarter teaspoon of vanilla, 2 cups of ice, a half a cup to 3/4 of a cup of rock salt. You're going to need a small zippy bag and a big zippy bag. All right, let's get started. First, we're going to measure out the milk. Like we said, we need a half a cup. Now, it's usually a good idea when you're measuring to leave it on the table and then watch right from the side, because then you can get a really good exact amount, just like that. Now, next up, we're going to add a half a cup of cream. But Mrs. Kolesar, you only have 1 measuring cup. You're right. You guys, because you're so good at math, I know that you know a half a cup plus a half a cup equals 1 whole cup, right? So what you can do is you can do your measuring using just 1 cup. I'm going to pour it in, and when it gets up to that cup line, I will know that I have a half a cup of cream. Perfect, right? Easy peasy. Plus, you save a whole bunch of dishes that way. Next, we're going to add our quarter teaspoon of vanilla. And a half a cup of sugar. Easy peasy, right? Let's eat our ice cream. Wait a minute. Does this look like ice cream yet?
No.
No. We have to make it ice cream. And that's where the salt comes in. Mr. Kolesar is going to come in and explain about the salt.
Hey everyone, so what we're going to look at is using salt somehow in this ice cream making process. So Mrs. Kolesar is going to be putting the mixture we've made so far into our first Ziploc bag. And in the second Ziploc bag, or the larger one, we're going to take and add a couple cups of, or 2 cups of ice.
Now friends, one quick note. If your zippy bag doesn't quite close really nice like mine, or maybe it seems a little bit thinner, just for safety's sake, it's helpful to put it in a second zippy bag.
Get the air, or make sure we remove the air from
Yep,
the bag.
we gotta remove the air from the bag. Otherwise it might pop like a balloon.
Now, ice, if you touch it, feels cold. In order for the ice to melt, it needs to absorb energy from around the area or around its setting. So when you touch it, it's taking energy from your hands to melt that ice. But what we need to do is we're actually going to be adding salt to it. Now, salt, remember, is known as sodium chloride, NaCl, is the chemical formula. And when salt is added to the ice, it splits apart. And by having more particles dissolve in, actually lowers the freezing point of the material. So we're going to put that half cup to 2/3 or 3/4 of a cup of rock salt into our bag. And what salt does is if you just have regular salt, or regular ice, it freezes at about 0 degrees Celsius. Then we got our thermometer here in our ice. If you add some salt to the ice, it actually drops the temperature by about 10 degrees, making it much colder. We put salt in our sidewalks on the winter time to actually lower that freezing point so that actually the ice won't freeze as much and kind of keeps it a little bit softer or melting there. So now we've actually added our rock salt and ice to our entire bag, so it's all Ziploc closed up. And we're going to take about the next 10 minutes to actually kind of mix around that ice and salt. as Mrs. Kolesar is doing, so that it gets
Ooh,
colder. But
it's
we'll notice
cold.
that it does get cold, so you'll want to pass it back and forth between family, members, brothers, sisters, anybody in your lab groups, whatever it might be, as you're mixing it together. And a really good idea would be to
Mitten up. I know you got them still out.
So now as we're mixing, I'll pass it back over because it is getting cold. It will take about 10 minutes for us to actually get to that final product.
So we're gonna pause it for a little bit and we'll come back for some ice cream. Stay tuned. Hello friends, and we're back. Now I'm just taking our ice cream out after shaking it for about 10 minutes. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna snip off the end, and then you get to squeeze it out, just like soft serve you would get at Dairy Queen. Yum! What a good treat. Here
Wow.
comes the best part.
That looks delightful.
Now remember, the reason why we use that salt is it makes the ice colder than cold. So it can make that ice cream even better.
Well, Mrs. Kolesar, would you like to sample?
I would love a sample, thank you. Tune in next time. See you soon.